If you are receiving this transmission, you are the Resistance.
Welcome back to the War Room. I'm your host, Rob Dew. I've got some amazing breaking news. I get a lot of calls from and emails from people who claim to be targeted individuals, TIs. And I take a lot of them with a grain of salt. And it's not that I don't believe them. I'm like, this can't be true. Well, I've got this article. This is from Boing Boing. They pulled it off of Daily Beast. Government accidentally sends file on remote mind control methods to journalists. When journalist Curtis Waltman filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the Washington State Fusion Center to obtain information about Antifa and white supremacist groups, he got more information than he was looking for. He also received a mysterious file that might have been whistleblown out to him, psychoelectric weapons, with the label EM effects on the human body.zip. Yeah, I'm going to open that one. The file included methods on remote mind control. Let me just read some of these. So they have a diagram of the human body if you're listening to this on radio with little lines coming out, and these are the different things they do. But here's asterisk right next to the human body. The first unclassified successful transmission of human voice directly into the skull of a living person was performed by Dr. Joseph Sharp of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research in 1974. That was the year I was born. Imagine what they can do now if that was 1974. And I think we were using 8-track cassette tapes and record players. They also have, they can control your dreams, forced waking visions, synced with body motion, microwave hearing, transparent eyelids, artificial tinnitus. That's a little ringing in your ears you get. Forced movement of the jaw and clacking of teeth. Forced muscle quaking of the large muscles in the back. Forced precision manipulation of hands, sometimes synced with forced waking visions. Forced memory blanking and induced erroneous actions. Induced changes of hearing, both apparent in direction and volume, and sometimes content. Sudden violent itching inside the eyelids. Forced manipulation of airwaves, including externally controlled forced speech. Wildly racing heart without cause. Remotely induced violent no rash itching. And then they have another one down here, hard to reach itch site on the top and bottom, never any rash, which often starts with a sensation of electrical shocks. And there's more. You can read it in that article. Government accidentally sends file on remote mind control methods to journalists. This is going to be a bombshell of information. And there's lots of people who claim to be targeted through the microwave systems, through the 5G that's coming out now, the 4G, the electric meters that are on the back of your on your house that are now Wi-Fi controlled. They're not those analog meters anymore. Well, since we're on science, let's go to this article from the Express. Human-mouse hybrid, scientists grow human brain in tiny rodent. For the first time, miniature human brains have been grown in a new species, and scientists have suggested that a breakthrough could help with stem cell research. Scientists created pin-sized human brains from stem cells and placed them inside the skulls of mice where a piece of tissue had been removed to make room for the organ. Of the test mice, 80% survived the operation, and within 2 weeks, the rodent's implants had successfully received the brain implants and were spawning new neurons. And then they survived so almost a year before they began dying out. In our hands, the organoids stop growing around 5 weeks. It's a function of size rather than time. We see death in the edge of the organoid starting at 10 weeks, which becomes really dramatic over time. So growing brain tissue inside mice. And we've been telling you for years about human-animal hybrids, and we've been talking about this stuff, but on a lesser degree, mind control and whatnot. But then I take you back to the cross-species chimera. We posted today on Alex Jones's Twitter. There he is, the Alex Jones hairless cat, our AJ cat, our Jones cat, whatever you want to call it. There it is. Now, coming up next segment, Jake Lloyd, reporter here at InfoWars, is going to join me. He went out to ask college kids at UT, see how much they knew about Syria. Did they know it was a false flag? What did they think of this gas attack? And of course, we know what they're going to say because they've been fed the correct talking points of we can't let Assad gas his own people. In fact, we have a caller, Bernard, on the line now, wants to talk about, he wants to, as a question mark debate, Assad's history will tell a different story. Thanks for holding so long, Bernard. You now have the floor. Let's give us some information about Assad.
Hi, Rob. How are you doing? Hi to everybody. I want you to know I'm a pretty big user of Alex Jones products to support the War Room and the show.
Excellent. Thank you for your support.
My my thing is that you know, if you talk about ethnic cleansing like Rwanda or other instances that we see around the globe, and whether or not the United States should do something to try to stop it, I wonder if you really have that position that we shouldn't do anything, all right? But in the case of Syria, I really wanted to point out that you and Alex and Roger may be missing some information, okay? In 2011, 2012, the Syrian people, first of all, backdrop, Syria is one of the worst totalitarian police states on the face of the earth under Hafez Assad, the father, and Bashir Assad, the son.
I don't think we've ever said Syria is a great place, but when we get into the business of regime change using these proxy groups like ISIS, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'll let you finish. When we go into these instances and use these groups that we have really no control over, we're just giving them weapons, we usually create 99% of the time a worse situation than where it started. Iraq was, I think, better off with Saddam Hussein in charge. Now, they're better off now, but at the expense of millions and billions of dollars in damage, millions of lives lost. Okay, now they're getting to a place where they're a little more in control of their government. Libya, they're trading black people on the streets as slaves. They're trading them and selling them. Okay, that didn't happen under Gaddafi. Now, was Gaddafi a good guy? No. I think you have the same thing with Assad. But we had a common enemy with him in ISIS, and the Russians were helping him, and he looked like he was winning. Now, I'll let you go ahead and finish, but we've never said Assad was a great guy, and he's actually said he wants to finish this war up and then have real elections. We'll see if they're real. But when we go in to fix these problems, we create a bigger problem because our true intentions aren't about like really getting the dictator out. It's about us controlling the situation. It's not about giving these people autonomy. So go ahead.
Okay, so just reacting to one thing that you said in regards to Iraq, okay, the financial management of the situation there, this actually helps my case. The financial management of the situation there was under the charge of a bonehead named George Bush, okay? And the stupidity of the financial management cannot ever be forgiven, okay? They have ended up somewhat in a better place after a very tough time. George went in there and ISIS, actually the predecessors to ISIS, Takriti al-Baghdadi, started a civil war between the Sunnis and the Shiites while we were there, and George decided he was going to stick it out.
Right.
All right.
Well, hey, go. We have about 40 seconds left before we go to break. Finish up on Syria.
One thing is the history in 2011, 2012 was that it was Bashir and Hafez al-Assad did not allow the population to have guns. A large protest broke out against the tyrannical rule. The people were marching peacefully, and Bashir Assad began to have his special forces fire sniper rifles.
Right, we're going to break. We're going to break. No one said Assad's perfect at all, but he's not ISIS.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Introducing CellForce by InfoWars Life. CellForce focuses on mitochondria efficiency and protection. Mitochondria produce over 95% of your energy. They are your body's cellular engines. CellForce helps promote your cellular energy production by supporting mitochondria, much like a cellular engine overhaul. Because when your mitochondria don't run at 100% efficiency, then they start producing reactive oxygen species. Top scientists agree that aging is most likely caused by cellular damage, resulting from these reactive oxygen species. The antioxidants found in CellForce are some of the most powerful available on the market. The stronger the antioxidant, the better its ability to scavenge for these reactive oxygen species and other free radicals. Boost, protect, and adapt with CellForce from InfoWars Life. Head to InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.